teenagers and people, but mostly teenagers all throughout history, everyone just, they search to be influenced. Everyone just wants someone to look up to. It's just so much easier to find someone that seems like they've got the right idea and they know what they're doing. And even if it's the wrong people that are influencing them, whether it's like, it used to be like more black and white and like it's the peers you're around, like it's the friends you hang out with, it's your parents. But now it's like there are so many people, it is like absolutely muddied, like that people that are just trying to either sell you things or just teach stuff that isn't right.
Well, I want to start with just acknowledging that Phoebe Joy, who joins us right now, witnessed upon entry something that no Homebrewed guest has ever seen before, and that was Cameron and myself with a pair of
Hang on, yeah, let's just let that sit for a little bit.
Yeah.
Create your own
Let it marinate.
images of where you think this story's going.
Phoebe opens the door. It's Cam and me. I'm kind of bent with
Trying to grip something.
something.
And then he has asked for my help,
Yeah.
almost like an anti-grip.
Yeah. What way do I turn? And anyway, we had a pair of multi-grips out on an adapter. This is a visual medium now. and we're trying to get this adapter for the camera, for the visual medium that I'm referencing right now. And we got it. And we got it multi-grips on one bit, Cam on the mic. We spun it. It's the first time, maybe second, first and a half time we've ever had to employ a hand tool in the, a hand tool in the Homebrewed studios to make it work. But we got it done. We're here. All cameras are set up. Phoebe's sitting in front of us. It's only
so
18 minutes after the planned interview beginning.
Which is almost a record. I think for Drawing Arrows, last of all in here, we were a good half an hour before we even got the mics plugged in. So,
Yep.
Wow. It's an honour, truly.
Yeah. So,
we run a tight ship.
Very. Yeah. So, Phoebe, you've borne witness to some pretty significant events. First of all, first question, how are you feeling? Because that's a lot.
I'm feeling overwhelmed but good. I'm feeling good now.
Yeah.
It was such a sight to walk into, really. But glad it's done and fixed and we're good. But feeling good. Okay. Feeling good. Yeah.
Fantastic. And welcome actually to the Homebrewed podcast. It's great to have you on.
It's my pleasure to be here.
Now, Cam, you're the original connection, I guess, to Phoebe Joy. Via some frequenting of a certain cafe.
My work is in close proximity to Phoebe's work.
Yeah.
She works in a cafe. I like coffee. So there's a lot
works.
of
it works. But you also make some fantastic music, and that's what we're going to chat about tonight.
That's it. My double life.
Your double life, yeah. By day barista, by night musician.
That's it.
It's fantastic.
That's it.
But we want to...
We all have double lives here.
Yeah, that's it.
We do all have double lives.
It's a double life podcast, really.
That's right.
We found the title 3 minutes in, it's gold.
Yes, it is. Yes. First question, does your family know?
Yes.
Okay.
Do your fans know?
Do my fans know that I work at a cafe but I have a double life?
Yeah. I'm thinking like Hannah Montana, she has a normal life and then a celebrity
gosh, I really should have played into that. Hey, it really worked out for her. They do know. It's like I'm just that person that will always just post the stupid things that happen in my life on my socials, and a lot of that happens at the cafe, which is so good. No, I love it. Yeah, so they do know.
Good. Okay, so there's a bit of openness here. Cam and I are both very, very private about our other lives. Very few people know about either of them, so it is what it is. But let's start with your story generally, because our introduction to you, or came via Cam, came via the cafe. We didn't know about you before then, but you've been doing it a little while longer than what we've known. So let's start at the beginning with you. You're from the Central Coast.
Yeah.
How long have you been making music for?
So I've always just been a musical person. My mum was like classically trained musician. She did music teaching in the 80s. And I've always just had this like little thing for making jingles and little tunes, and that's just been something that was unique from my family. They didn't really make music per se. They were more like, let's perform, let's sing. I grew up in like a church like setting, so that was always surrounded by music in that way. And then I wrote my first song when I was 15, and then someone who went to my church actually was like, oh, I'm like producing, I want to try some producing, and then produced my first song, Oopsie Daisy, which is fun. Oopsie Daisy. It's
that
such a
was actually
16-year-old.
the original title of Britney Spears' famous song, Oops, I Did It Again. It was going to be called Oopsie Daisy.
Oh my gosh.
She told us that when we interviewed her.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Inside scoop right there.
Yes.
Yeah, wow. Jeez. I'm glad I didn't steal that one from Britney. Queen Britney. But yeah, and then I released it in 2020. And I sort of was on this steady, like, one song a year sort of thing for a few years until 2024, really. And then I was like, yep, let's do it. Started networking and meeting so many other musos and being like, yeah, this is what I want to do. This is where I want to be. And then released Imperative. And that was like the first song from the upcoming EP. And we just started making more, and with Josh King, who is a producer who's now based in Central Coast.
Well, he's on the coast now.
He is.
Because he was Sydney-based,
He
wasn't
was
he?
Sydney-based, yeah. And I recorded Imperative down there, but then moved up here, and I was like, yes, he's
Another
local
one.
now. No more like 2 a.m. drives back like from Redfern back to Woodalba. But yeah, so just been really loving getting to know my sound, really. And just being able to be influenced by all the other amazing musos on the coast and all their songwriting, and just awesome.
Because we do have you, as you're listening to this, your debut EP will be dropping later this week.
Yes.
So we have you ahead of that, which is exciting. We've had an early listen, and you're talking about finding your sound. A lot of the tracks on there, they follow a similar path to the singles that we've already heard.
Yeah.
That very acoustic. I likened it to, listening to one of the tracks before, I likened it to a bit Greta Ray.
Yeah.
If that, you feel like that's accurate.
Yeah.
So dangerous. It's a risk that I can't take on this feeling.
So how did you find your sound? Was it about finding who you wanted to be as an artist and then going from there, or was it drawing influences and sort of, I like that, I'll take this, I'll take that, and sort of put it forward?
Yeah, genuinely probably a bit of everything. I think finding what music I really enjoyed, and I think as I wanted to like transform myself into a listener, like I want to make music that people want to listen to and that I would want to listen to. And so like I love pop music. I love like Lizzie McAlpine, Holly Humberstone, Taylor Swift, like all of those things and all of those people. And it's like there's some depth to the lyricism, but also it's a fun song that people can easily put on and just really just relate to. And I think something that I learnt even like in the past year was that I can write the songs for me and they can be me in the song. Like I'm not someone who will take myself too seriously or like be too serious about anything. So I like to, even like the sad ideas in the songs, like I still will put a little bit of a cheeky edge in there, just to make sure it's like people know I'm real and that like it's not all that, you know, life isn't all that, but like to show that. And I think that's just been like in discovering my sound, I think that has just been like just listening to everyone around me really and what I like and trying to adjust what I would want to hear from me as a fan or a listener, which is a really wild out of body concept, but but I think that's pretty well it in just like what do they want to hear, and but what would I want to hear if I was being a fan of Phoebe Joy, if that makes sense.
It's kind that you take your fans into account. We don't. We just go, no. Screw our fans. We're doing our own thing.
Yeah.
I actually do have some fan questions later on from our Patreon, which we will get to at the end. But yeah.
At the end, yeah. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
But it is interesting, though, you mentioned that whole concept of wanting to write music that you'd like to listen to.
Yeah.
Is the outcome of that radically different to, say, you just sat down and gone the other route, which is I just want to make what I want to make right now without even it's interesting to consider that there could be a part where you consider the listener and where you don't consider the listener. So is it had you done the other way, and how did that sound compared to?
Absolutely. I think I've done like both like polar opposites of the spectrum, so being like songs that absolutely everyone would want to listen to, like the cookie cutter pop song, sort of like with no real like substance, and like sort of like creating a story. I've tried every like form of songwriting technique, like trying to like do different narratives and how that works, but it's like I've always found I can't write a song if it doesn't relate to me, and if it's something that will just trying to make a hit. Like even like Fletcher was saying like on the podcast before, like it's like everyone wants a hit, but it's like what I don't want to just create a hit. That's something that if I don't relate to it, do you know what I mean? It's like if it's not me, it will feel like I'm a fraud. Like that's not me. It's not me. But then there's the other like side where it's something that I've written that's completely me, and like that will come out in my musical journey, I'm sure. But for me now, I think it feels too vulnerable right now I think it's something you learn. I hope it's something I learn in my musical journey, but to share stuff that's like so vulnerable to my story and where I am right now, and when I'm writing that song in my bedroom on the guitar, and that's just it. Because it can be too real to share. It's like you're opening a diary and that's it. But I'm learning to be more vulnerable, and I would say I'm doing that more in the EP. But it's definitely scary. Oh my gosh. I'm like stressing. Like I've had so many like phone calls to my friends being like, should I do this? Should this go on the EP? Should this not? Like what is? So I think there's the two ends, because people either love it or hate it, I guess. So yeah.
And it's an interesting spectrum that you describe. At one end, it's you sitting in a room trying to create a narrative that has no relationship to you whatsoever in order to make a hit. At the other end, it's the fear of unloading so much vulnerability into a song that terrifies you, which I can relate. It's hard enough to just tell someone personally some vulnerable things that like put on a song and throw it out to the world.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting. In terms of representing your authentic self and adding that touch of silliness, if I can put a word into your mouth there.
Like it.
How was that process as well? Was it just like banging your head against the wall, the narrative stuff isn't working, if I can't relate to it? Then you start doing things that are personal, and then you're like, well, I'm actually a bit silly, so I might just sprinkle a bit of that in as well.
I think me as a person, when I'm communicating something to someone, like it's like, oh, I'll say something really serious about my life, and then I'll be like, oh, but it's okay though. Like I'll laugh about it. I think that's sort of what I'm trying to communicate in my song. Like I'll be like, oh, this really sad thing, like, oh, my dog died, but it's okay. I'm laughing about it now. It's all right. So I think maybe that side of me, which is an issue I'm working through, but that's what I like to reflect in my songs, because like that's so me. Anyone that has any sort of conversation with me will know that I can't be serious for more than 10 minutes. So we got to reflect.
I feel like I have a similar thing where I don't like awkwardness.
Yes.
So anytime and I feel like I'm quite good at sensing other people's moods. So if I sense that I've said something and someone's like, oh, and I'm like, oh no, I don't want you to feel bad for me. It's all good.
Yeah,
And then it's like, don't worry about it. And you're like, oh shit. Like,
yeah, literally.
Like, I feel like I have a similar thing, and a bit of people pleasing.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
100%.
It's all in there.
There's a lot sprinkled in there.
So people will have heard this EP by the time this is released, but
well, no, this is before
pre.
The EP.
Oh, pre-EP.
The EP is out this week as of upload.
Okay. Sorry, I'm getting recording date versus release date versus EP date on mixed up. So when people get to the EP, where was that balance that you landed, and do you feel that you're stepping maybe into more that vulnerable side in a way that you're comfortable with, or do you feel like, did you, like so many artists do, complete the EP and then just go, oh, I wish I did this, or I wish I should have added that, or are you happy with where you landed in terms of packaging up?
I think I'm definitely happy with where I've landed in that project. Like, I know towards the end, so I wrote the title track of the EP, Double Down, not that long ago, like maybe like 2 months ago. And I was like, nah, we need it in there. Because I was like, we need a wrap up song. We need a song that will like cover all of the others, which I've written over maybe the past like 2 years. So that song is pretty vulnerable and pretty timely to my life and to all of my friends that are aware of the story and stuff. So I think that song scares me. But it's like that weird like adrenaline. It's like, oh yeah, it's so good, but it's scary, but it's so good. So I think that almost is like a little feed in. It'll feed into what my future music will be more like sitting in that vulnerable side, or maybe because my songwriting since the EP has been a little bit different, like a little bit more vulnerable, a little bit, I don't know, just shifted a little bit. I feel like I'm saying a little bit a lot. A little bit.
Only saying a little bit.
I was going to make the exact same joke.
Thanks, guys.
It's funny though, vulnerability, because I also struggle with being vulnerable, and I know it drives my wife mental.
Oh yeah.
And it's, obviously something that I'm trying to be more vulnerable. And when you are vulnerable and you're like, oh, that was okay. Like it feels good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is so scary.
It's so scary.
The thought of being vulnerable. So the fact that you're now at the point where you've been a little bit vulnerable with your songwriting, and you're always dipping your toe in, and you're getting a little bit further along that journey with every song that you write, and then you go back to record it, you probably have another wave of vulnerability and anxiety around that. Yeah. And then listening to it again, so the cycle almost repeats itself. But the more that you can do it and you're like, okay, nothing bad happened, it's all good.
Yeah, literally.
That's when progress can really start to be made.
Well, if people hear it and they're like, oh, that was crap, well, I'll probably back off and go back, retreat. But,
get letter bombs after the EP.
Like, oh gosh, no, cut that last one. Yeah, no. But hopefully it pays off, and it's like I can feel good about it, and I think I will. I feel good about it now. It was a whole time trying to be like, get your head around it, because I think writing songs and just like releasing music, it's just like, it's a huge mind game. It's like it's my life, and you're just promoting it on your social media and being like, listen to this, please listen to this, please listen. It's like desperation for people to validate you and your songs that you've poured your heart out into. So it's definitely a mind game that I've tried to. And
you're 20?
20.
So you're still like a baby. Like I'm bordering 30, and I feel like I'm behind where you are on that vulnerability journey. And like, you mentioned Fletcher before. He's just so open.
Yeah.
And like
he's all over that stuff.
We are often just in awe anytime we chat to him. It's like, you're an amazing person.
Yeah. He is.
Like genuinely just so open and honest and kind, and just a genuine awesome person to be around, because you met Fletch through MMAD.
Yeah, through MMAD.
Which you're now getting a bit more involved in as well.
Yeah, there it is.
This is the funny question that we had in the... Oh no, was it Post?
Post.
That was funny.
Yes.
Funny.
You made a comment to me which I passed on to Fletch.
And he passed it on to me. Yeah.
Something, what was it? It was something about how you just like to talk, you never shut up.
Yeah.
Something along the lines, which was reflected in that podcast.
With love.
Yeah.
Let's clarify.
Of course. I mean, they're the kind of things that can only be communicated with love. Otherwise, it's not. But it is with love.
It's not communicated. Yeah.
But you guys met through MMAD.
Yes.
Is that the networking that you were referring to earlier, in terms of that little part that kind of pushed you into saying, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to focus on?
It's definitely a part of it. Like, I think my starting of networking started a while, like more before MAD, but MAD has been such an encouragement. So I'm a youth creative mentor there with Fletcher as well. It's just been epic. It's like, it's such a niche thing. And it's just like the combination of both of my favorite things. Like, I love youth. Like, I have such a passion for teenagers and just like making sure they're feeling loved and they're feeling supported. And I have such a passion for music. And it's like a charity called Musicians Making a Difference. It's just like, this is the best thing ever. I'm in the place I'm meant to be. And it's such a great environment. Like, you walk in there and there's nowhere like it. It's just, you feel loved, you feel supported. Like, anything you're going through, whether it's a personal life or your creative life, they're there to help. And that's, as if you're a young person going in there or someone that's employed there, like you're just, it's just a place where you're supported. And I think there needs to be so much more of that. But yeah, I can see, like, because Fletcher, like, absolutely, like, grew his teenage years, was at MAD, and you see it's like a reflection of MAD and his character. They just tied so well together. And you see, I even see it myself, like, from working there. I think it's been like 6 months now I've worked there, so not long, but I've seen, like, just different ways to think and different ways to communicate with people. And
it's epic. And a great shout out to MAD.
Yeah.
While we're here, Musicians Making a Difference. If anyone out there listening would like to donate to a great charity and they like music and they like making a difference and stuff like that, or associated things, and do that. Very, very good.
Yes, absolutely.
Sorry, I couldn't resist the urge to make the joke and say donate to our Patreon, but
I was gonna
oh my gosh.
Yeah, you can only pick one. Actually, pick both. Pick both.
I was going to interrupt, and I was like, no, I shouldn't. I'll let Eamonn finish because this joke completely derails this real sentimental
of the moment.
Yeah.
Do both. Do both.
Yeah. Why not both?
But if you can only afford one, Homebrewed. No. Yeah. Definitely MAD. They do some amazing work. And like you said, you can see the difference in yourself, both personally and in your reflected in your music as well.
Yeah.
After just a short time. So how did you first get involved with MAD?
With MAD? Well, so the youth pastor at my church, because I'm a youth leader as well, so that's my Friday nights, is like 7 to 9 p.m. I'm there looking after teenagers. Our youth pastor, he used to work there, and he was like, you need someone to replace me? Here's Phoebe. And then, like, recommended me, and then they pretty much hired me because they trusted his referral. Referral? Is that the right word? Yeah. Cool. Whew.
It holds a little weight then.
Yeah. I was like, okay, no pressure. He was on the phone to Dom, who, like, runs MAD, like, he was the founding father of MAD. And I walked in, and then I was like, oh, Austin, like, who are you talking to? And he was like, oh, Dom, here. I'd never met this guy, like, never before. And then I'm like, oh, hi. He's like, oh, I hear you're going to come work for us. I was like, am I?
Good to
and
know.
I'm like looking at Austin, I'm like, what is going on? Like, I don't know. He's like, yeah, just keep talking. And then he was like, all right, if you want to come in next week. And I was like, cool. I'm so glad it was a great fit. That would have been so awkward if it wasn't. I'm like, get me out of here. No, it was perfect, truly. Yeah.
Do you notice any crossover in the lives and the stories you encounter via your work in the youth at the church and what you would encounter in MAD? Like, are there common themes to maybe what teenagers are experiencing or going through that come through both, that you're kind of dealing with in both capacities?
Yeah, it's interesting because I think MAD is very much like it's different people. So, but they're all going through insecurity and like comparison and all these issues that just come with being a teenager in 2025. And like deals with identity and like things that they just don't, like, people just like have no idea what they're doing. Like, it's like, I have no idea what I'm doing, and it's like I'm just there to be someone to lean on, which is such an honor. And I think that is like the crossover really, is just like everyone's just searching to be loved and have some support.
Yeah, it's interesting because I don't know. I know some teenagers, not very many of them. So it's interesting to know what's the playing field like these days because there is
TikTok's crazy.
That's stuff where I'm looking at it and like we're not trying to necessarily turn this into a teenage reflections podcast. However,
No.
it's interesting. Yeah, like it'd be very interesting to know that the challenges that they face compared to maybe what you and I, Cam, did in the same time would be very, very different. Add into that music as well.
Oh, yeah.
And those challenges are going to be reflected in different kinds of music that come out that we're maybe just seeing the beginning of now. But it's just very, very interesting, especially because we're definitely, we're looking at, how old are we? We're probably like 10 to 15 years past that kind of era, that's middle of your teenage years. So, very, very interesting to compare that. What is a playing field like if you can sum it up, or is it so diverse and different that you can't?
The playing field and like...
For teenage challenges, I suppose, and what you're encountering.
Yeah, I think even, it's funny how you were saying it's like different to when you guys were teenagers. I think it's different to when I was a teenager, like 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
It's all developed so quickly.
So quick.
You think back to when we were in, like we had obviously, like Facebook was the thriving thing back then, which is bonkers to think of now. But and Bonkers by Dizzy Rascal was a big thing too. 2 podcasts in a row.
I was going to say,
I think I just like that word,
Keep the streak
bonkers,
going.
and then recently I rediscovered the song, and now that's back in my psyche. But bonkers. It was a very almost one-to-one connection you had with social media. It was, these are my friends and my friends, as it often was as well, just people who you were aware of. But they were all actual people who you knew in the real world and you existed and had some sort of connection to. When now the algorithms are so wild, you get thrown people from all over the world, people you've never met, and it's a lot easier to be critical of people who you don't need to see at school the next day.
Yeah.
Like obviously cyberbullying still exists.
Yeah.
And it existed when we were teenagers too, but it feels like there was less anonymity.
Anonymity?
Yeah. You weren't you're a lot more anonymous now.
Yeah. It's so true. Yeah. I think what teenagers and people, but mostly teenagers all throughout history, everyone they search to be influenced. And I think like everyone just wants someone to look up to. And I think now for teenagers, it's so easy for them to be influenced by that first person they look up in their phone. Like it's just so much easier to find someone that seems like they've got the right idea and they know what they're doing. And even if it's the wrong people that are influencing them, whether it's like, it used to be like more black and white and like it's the peers you're around, like it's the friends you hang out with, it's your parents, it's your like grandfather, your grandmother, or like just the singer you see on the TV, like that celebrity. But now it's like there are so many people, it is like absolutely muddied, like that people that are just trying to either sell you things or just teach stuff that isn't right. And I think that it's just people will just believe anything. And I think there needs to be, I don't know, I think there needs to be more positive influence. And I feel like it could so like stray either way in people don't know how to discern, especially teenagers. They don't know how to discern what is the right thing or what is the wrong thing or what that even means to them, because they just want to be influenced and they just want to like be told what to do in that sort of.
And I think that's also why we've seen the rise of your Andrew Tates and all those influences online, and why people just, or even the whole neo-Nazi rise that we've seen globally and also here in Australia of late is just because people go, that guy seems like he knows what's going on. Okay, that's what he believes. That's now what I believe.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just bonkers.
Yeah, and we're getting lonelier at the same time as well, because people become so insular because they got this thing in their hand that shows them stuff.
That's it. Yeah.
It's wild. I was even listening to, it was actually on Backchat, but on FBI Radio, a show I'm very familiar with, but they had a segment on one of their recent shows that was discussing the Laneway Festival. So we're bringing it back to music. We're reeling it back in.
We're back.
I'm looking at it gone fishing. So we're reeling this fish back into music. But
Just off camera.
Just off camera, there's a drawing of a fish. Anyway.
I might try and get some B-roll.
Cut it in. They were talking about Laneway Festival and how there was this trend that I'm not on TikTok, but that apparently it was particularly big on TikTok. With relation to Laneway Festival, it was like, what are we wearing to Laneway? And it was like everyone doing like fit checks, and then all of a sudden like everybody was like, oh, is my outfit good, blah blah, and it became this like big cultural little phenomenon of just like, what are you wearing to Laneway? But at the same time there was like heaps of people that are like, this is shit, like, you know, like dunking on people whose outfits they didn't like. And I was like, wow. And it was just like this marker. And in that same segment, Cam, you'll like this, Joe Blogg was interviewed, whose actual name, I can't remember his last name, but Joe Blogg. It
was Joe something. It was in our most recent music news episode we discussed. Joe, who has a blog, and his blog is called Joe Blogs.
Very interesting Sydney music
creative
writer.
It's great.
And they were talking about this idea that, like now it's so, like everything, the playing field has changed so much and the dynamic is so different as well. And it's now you're like, you almost can't go to, you can, but everyone's so focused on the outfit and how they look and what it's going to be. And because we have such fewer festivals now as well, that all the emphasis goes into one, like Laneway, because there's less of them. And it's just like all of these dynamics. I was like, wow, when I first started going to festivals when I was younger, this was just not even on the radar. And it's this whole set of new challenges that people of that age are having to face.
Well,
absolutely.
They've almost, what we were talking about before, about you used to have your one-to-one or closer connections, and now it feels global. That might have been a conversation you'd have with your friends.
Yeah.
What are you wearing to Laneway? And now it's a TikTok trend.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you got strangers like from the other side of the country or world saying your outfit's shit, you know? It's like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And I think like their identity is almost put into those things now, like, and like because they see it on TikTok and that's what they see that people are talking about for Laneway, like that's their one thing, And if they don't wear the right thing, like they're like, the right thing, I say very lightly, like then their experience is ruined. Like I think like there can be a lot of deep feelings and a lot of identity poured into the little things because it's such a big thing online and because our world has almost become smaller in like a bigger way, if that makes sense. Like it's bigger, we have more reach to the world, but still we can still pour into one thing.
We're all consuming the same media and the same trends.
Yeah.
So, but to bring that round to a positive note, you're saying you're like, well, you need more positivity. Like going back to Taylor Swift's Eras Tour concert, the whole friendship bracelet thing.
Oh, I love that.
Was because of a TikTok trend, and then it became a massive thing. And all of her concerts, people made friendship bracelets and just gave them round to people at the venue, and like it became a very wholesome, positive thing. But that is far outweighed by so much of the negativity. So we need to try and find a way to harness it. And I don't know whether this onus probably is on these social media companies to promote more of the positive stuff and not the negative stuff, because we know that gets far more engagement and
it's like how do they even regulate that?
Because we all, if you're feeling angry, you're more likely to leave a 1-star review at a cafe as opposed to, oh, that was amazing, I'll leave them a 5-star review. It feels like that part of its human nature. But I don't know whether that's been led by these social media networks or whether that's the cave people were still having these same issues. I don't know.
Yeah.
Their coffee was burnt as well. But we'll bring it back, PV2 EP. It is coming out very, very soon. Yeah. I'm still a bit confused about the date ranges. Are you planning live performances off of the back of this release?
I'm doing an EP launch, so that'll be like my local show for like a while. because I've been doing a few traveling shows. But yes, 1st of March, which is the planned EP date release. It's just going to be a backyard show. So I can't reveal the location, but you can get it after you buy tickets. But yeah, I think something I've been really like, even in the past few weeks, so I've been traveling like Victoria and like New South Wales with this folk duo, Brook Street. They're from Sunshine Coast, and something that they do so well at their shows is they bring like their show, it feels like you're in their living room. It feels like you're being welcomed into their family, and into, because they're a married couple, you feel like you're sort of being brought into their like their everyday with their songs and with their creations. And I think like not to become like that and pick that vibe exactly, but what they sort of challenged me with was to what I want my live shows to feel like, and what I want my fans and my listeners to, I want them to leave feeling a certain way, and like sort of just challenges that idea. It's like, do I want to be just sort of a name you see on a slot and then not really think of anything other than like, oh, that was a good song, and then move on from it? Or do you want to hear more? Like, I sort of want people to come back and be like, I want to go to another show when they're back here and when she's playing another show here. So this EP launch, I'm just trying something different, doing like, it's full band but like half kit, so kind of like a Tiny Desk sort of vibe. Yeah, a little bit different. We'll have snacks, we'll have bean bags, we'll have fairy lights, like just like the things you want at a gig, like no sticky floors, no like people like saying turn down the music or like anything like that. Like, it's just being able to control the environment and like selling my own merch and things. So I'm hoping it'll be a tester, definitely, but to do more of that in the future, but with the band, and just like, even if it's not like a house show, but being able to like make that vibe so evident to the listeners and to the fans, and that they're like, oh, when I come to a Phoebe Joy show, this is how I'm going to feel walking out of it. And yeah, I think that's pretty important, because all my best experiences of going to different gigs, I'm like, oh, it made me feel a certain way, it made me feel this way. It's like their like energy was so like intense and so amazing that you feel change and you remember it forever. So I think that's just something I'm sort of thinking about more.
Yeah. I made the connection in my head to, after I got engaged, any wedding I went to, I was taking mental notes. Like, oh, I like the way how they did the cake when they entered as opposed to towards the end of the night. Maybe we'll steal that. Oh, I like this. Oh, no, I didn't like how they did that. And like, you have these, you're making mental notes for your own wedding, and I guess you would as a musician. You go to shows and you're making notes, which,
see what works.
As non-musicians, we just get to go and enjoy the show. Yeah. As you know,
you have it easy, guys.
You are engaged.
No mental load. It's just
It's nice and easy. The same way, you know, people who aren't engaged get to go to a wedding and just have a good time.
Yeah, so true.
So
don't get engaged. That's Cam's message for
guys.
the show.
Yeah, people say don't get married. Don't do the engagement.
Don't even do that part. Don't even think about it. Yeah.
But yeah, I can't remember where I was going to go off the back of that. But you do, I guess, as a musician, it's only natural that you go to a gig and you go, I like that. I want to adopt that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So which gig did you go to which had beanbags and fairy lights? Which made you go?
Brook Street, man. Like the folk industry, like in Australia, is so cool. Like, I just love it. That's honestly where I've done a lot of my networking, which was a bit random, but I just love the vibes.
I think you're bang on. Like, when I think of, what were those fun brothers?
Not the Teskey brothers.
The other brothers.
I can name so many.
They played at the inaugural Central Coast Music Festival in Gosford.
And they're just high energy.
A few years
McCready
ago.
Brothers? No.
No. Do you have any other brother suggestions?
Let me go to our YouTube channel. We have an interview with them up there.
They were so fun, but it was
so
them
much
and I
fun.
think also of Little Quirks as well, who are in that space.
Yeah.
And that, like when both of their live shows immediately strike you as different as well. So
Yeah.
I think it's a great
Pierce Brothers.
The Pierce Brothers.
Okay, cool.
Great live show if you've not had the chance yet.
No, I
Yeah.
haven't seen them.
And it's interesting as well because we've discussed a fair bit with relation more in our music newses, but the decline of festivals, and a lot of people seem to be chasing, well, one theory is a lot of people seem to be chasing a more boutique experience or something that's a bit more tailored, a bit less like, oh, they're all playing on the same stage. The stage looks the same the whole time.
Yeah.
It's just a wheel out a different kit and a different you know, set of instruments and play, which, you know, like that's not to detract from the music that's played, but it's almost as if that people's hunger for shows are evolving into something that's far more like multidisciplinary in terms of there's or multi-sensory almost in terms of there's all these other things that need to be going on that make it stand out and make it be different. So for you to be drawing on that seems like a very, very astute pick.
Yes. I'm actually because I go to these shows and I see it all over social media, like with these different acts, like in the folk music scene. It's just like, it's so tailored to them. And it's like, it's so specific. And so like, why wouldn't I try and do a show that's mine, that has my name on it? Like, why would I not make it like me? And like I like to have snacks. I like to have a charcuterie board. And like, I like to sit on a little chair and listen to good music. Like, that's what a lot of people, I think they want. Some people like also love the sticky floors as well. I love it. But, you know, not every night.
Yeah.
Not every weekend. So I think, it's just like, I just want to make it more mine and make it more of a nice, relaxing. Yeah, it'll be an all ages show too. So like a lot of like people with families and with kids, like they can come.
And I think going back to your music, that I picture that event of beanbags and fairy lights and charcuterie boards and all that fun stuff. And then I picture your music and I think that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
But just we've not really heard of anyone doing that before. So it seemed like a, you know, new idea to us, but it does make sense.
Absolutely.
You're onto something.
It might flop, but hopefully not.
No, I feel like that description alone should have piqued enough interest for those listening. So now, where can they find tickets for that particular show?
It's all linked to my link tree on Instagram. Like all of it.
Phoebe Joy Music.
Yes, Phoebe Joy Music. That's it.
Yes.
Or if you Google Phoebe Joy EP launch, it'll come up.
Nice.
Yeah.
Because I also think part of, you know, the music festivals and like just shows in general, we became homebodies a little bit during COVID.
Yeah.
We got used to sitting on the couch in our trackies and PJs and we got used to being comfortable.
Yeah.
So I think you offer me a gig where, hey, there's a cheese platter, there's bean bags.
Yeah, wear your PJs, honestly.
Like,
I don't care.
I'm like, I can be comfy and enjoy live music.
Yeah.
How awesome. I don't need to dress up and put on tight, uncomfortable jeans. And it's, that appeals to me.
Yes, it does. I feel like
as an old
appeals,
fart, that appeals to me.
Beware a couch.
Yes, like literally. Like bring
Second
whatever.
title of this podcast.
Beware a couch. That's so good. Yeah, I think hopefully it goes well. I think it'll be good. Yeah, I'm excited to have kids and like families around and just, we've got Jess Minder opening as well. Yeah, she used to be Mindy Lou, but she's had a little
Yeah.
So I like pitched the idea to her. I was like, who is someone that will just bring their guitar and just absolutely transform the place with their voice? And I was like, yep, Jess, she'll be good. Called her up. She's like, yeah, I'm there. Done. So like, it'll be an amazing night, even if you just come for her. But please stay.
It'll hurt your feelings a little bit. But then you can write a vulnerable song about it.
Yes.
Yeah. And then I'll do another show. Make you stay.
On your voice, so as someone who obviously I see you a few times a week at the cafe
Yes.
and take my order, have a quick chat about your music and whatnot.
See you tomorrow.
You definitely will.
Does he get discounts actually? Sorry, I just want to
No, but he has his special button.
I have my own order.
Yeah, he has a little
I've
button
told
that we
you
just
about
click.
this.
Yeah, I think you have told
I
me
said
this.
just go there and order a cam mandu.
You did. I did it. I did it when we were there. Yeah.
You're like
It's
cam
legit.
mandu, and you were confused, but
We get
staff
it.
knew what was going on.
Everyone knew. So
Yeah,
that's a button you refer to?
Yeah, it's just we just go boom, and then it's everyone knows it's coffee.
Oh, on the till.
So our office
Wow.
has our own button on Square. Is that the platform that you use? It's got its own touchscreen like an iPad. And our office has a button, then we each have our own order. So I'm a cam mandu.
That's dope. That's actually really, I like that.
She had a new girl start the other week. And I was like,
yeah.
I'm either going to make your life really easy or really difficult. And then, because I know where the buttons is, because sometimes you guys are flat out, so I just put through the order myself.
Sometimes we're like, you know how to do it.
So I showed her how to do it. Oh, you did everything. That's fine. And I was like, yeah.
You showed her how to do it.
Yeah,
That's so
because I was
So
like,
Cam's doing training for new baristas.
yeah. But I'm just like, I don't know how to explain to you this situation.
I was so confused when I first started. Like, because it has the other guys on that sexy and hot stuff. It's just like, oh my gosh. It's just a lot, but it's fine. It's so good.
So Duck Duck Moose Cafe in Wyong. We should give the cafe a
Yes,
shout.
Duck Duck
Yeah.
Moose. Shout
Very
out.
good
Woohoo.
cafe. Really cool crew.
I can
Yeah.
even vouch. I've had coffee from there. It was very good. And great energy too, actually.
Yeah, great.
Yeah,
food.
awesome vibe. Put the fairy lights
Yeah.
as well.
And the little arcade, little gem in Wyong.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
It's my favourite cafe before I started working there. So that says something.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. But yeah, sorry, on your voice. So
Yeah.
as someone who I know you
Oh, yes.
from, speaking to a few times a week
Yeah.
at the cafe, when I listen to your song, I find it hard to go, oh, that's Phoebe, because I'm used to your speaking voice, but
Oh,
your singing
yeah.
voice is quite different. And I feel like there are some artists where they're married quite well, and you go,
yeah.
oh yeah, that, the speaking voice and singing voice are quite similar.
Yeah, wow.
But I
okay.
find your singing voice is quite different.
Yeah.
Is that something you've worked on or someone's made aware to you, or that was just you trained to sing this way and it's just always...
Yeah, I think it's just like my training and singing. I think literally singing has just always been such a big... I don't remember a time where I haven't been singing. And so maybe...
Guess with your upbringing. That
Yeah, it's just always singing songs around the house. And like as well with church, like I lead like worship on Sundays and stuff. So I'll be singing most days of the week, like, and quite my church voice is very different to my song voice. I'm
Is
a
it?
belter. Like I'm a big belter on Sundays and big because they're big songs. Church songs are very big. And it's good challenge. And I found that really like help my training and help me stretch the limits. I think as like a pop singer, it's like you can fall in your little box and your little safety net, and it's fun. It's good. And it challenged my songwriting for a bit, like to be like, oh, what can I make a little bit different? But it's so important to keep. It's like a muscle that you need to train. So I'm always trying different warm-ups and singing different crazy random songs and trying to challenge my voice. But yeah, it's interesting that it does sound different to my speaking voice.
I mean, I think so.
Yeah.
Other people might have a different opinion.
No, I don't think anyone's ever given an opinion on
maybe
it.
it's just my ears.
Yeah, people are shocked to hear when I do sing. They're
And I
like,
think to like just what you're talking then, your pop music, like you feel quite close and intimate to the microphone.
Yeah.
And then having your church, which is very boomy.
yeah.
Do you find that might help you with the live show, like having to amplify your voice? Because
absolutely.
a lot of the musicians we've spoken to say performing live is very different for that reason, because you have to amplify your voice. So
Yeah.
you're almost honing in that skill weekly.
Yeah. Honestly, when I started performing live, like the only thing that really like made it scary was that it was my own songs. But being in front of people and sort of projecting and singing, like technically singing live, like it honestly wasn't a stress for me at all, because I'm literally so used to it, and I'm used to like training up younger people as well, like in our team, and just like making sure it's okay, you can feel comfortable. And yeah, which is actually such a sick skill to have learned. Like I'm just like, that is pretty special that I got to learn that at such a young age. And like I'm pretty sure 14 started singing up at church. So yeah.
Yeah, you've definitely like progressed through some of the hurdles that artists maybe now at your age would be just encountering, which is definitely great for the head start.
Yeah.
Is the church singing like more operatic? Like, is it more like, I'm not saying like sounds like opera, but is it more like, bam, I'm bellowing, giving it my all?
Yeah. It's very much that. I think in church singing, it's very much like very free, and our church definitely. So there's the song that we learn, and then it goes wherever you want it to. So you can lead it however you want. So it can be, you can have it really slow, have it really low, like dynamics wise, or you can make it really big with the drums like going huge and drum solo. Like it's you have complete control as like the person leading it. So yeah, like technically lots of belting, lots of big moments, but then there's lots of pulled back, very vulnerable moments. And there's a lot of time when it's just not you singing, and then it's just like the congregation sort of singing. But it's interesting, like I do a lot of stuff with like this thing called Youth Alive, which is all of the youth ministries on like New South Wales and Australia, and there's a big band, and we go to like the big arenas and everyone comes. And so it's like, I think my first time performing to, I think it was like 2,000 people a few years ago. Like it was in an arena, and I was like, wow, this feels way too natural. And then it's like, okay, I feel all right. And it's like, it's funny how I desensitize sort of to it. Like, but like in that setting, it's not really about us, which is cool. And it's like sort of like brings back the humility. But last year I got to this guy, This New Light, who's Sam Ailing. He opened for the Dregs in Sydney, and he invited me out to sing like harmonies and sing his songs at Enmore Theatre. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, the coolest opportunity ever. But like I was nervous obviously because of the weight of the venue.
Yes.
Like many names that have graced that stage, and I got my own green room because I was the only girl.
Cool.
I was like in the Dregs like world, only girl, so I got my own like little green room, which was so cool in Enmore. Oh my gosh. But then when we went out, it was like, I think there was 1,000 maybe there when we opened, and I was just like, that didn't scare me, but it was like the pressure of the stage, the weight of the venue. But yeah, it's funny how it all it's different in different parts of my brain almost. Like there's the church world, and then there's the music industry. Very different.
Yeah.
Very
and like this is why we hone on so much about having specific venues for music and these historical venues, and why they need to stay.
So important.
Yeah.
An artist coming through that goes, oh my God, I'm playing the Enmore.
Yeah.
Like, how cool.
Yeah,
Like,
it is.
I remember when we spoke to Winterbourne ahead of their solo sold out show in Sydney, and they were playing at the Metro Theatre.
Yeah, wow.
They were like, we busked around the corner from the Metro.
Yeah.
Now to have a sold out headline show there.
Yeah.
Like just having these venues, it's so important. I may end up cutting this from the episode, but my only church experience was from watching an episode of Mr. Bean.
That is not what I thought you were going to say.
I'm like,
I thought you were going to say I went along with a friend when I was younger.
No, watched an episode of Mr. Bean, and he like, ages ago I watched it. I can't remember why he ended up in a church, but he was there and he got the sheet with all the lyrics on it, and he was like pretending he knew all the words, and then he got to the hallelujah.
please keep that in.
That was good.
My nan loved the original Hallelujah, and she goes, I'll play that at my funeral, and I always joked that I was going to sing the Mr. Bean version. She goes, if you do, I'll come back and haunt you.
That's so good.
That's beautiful. I like that. And your
Beautiful.
Mr. Bean impression.
That was
is
amazing.
Bang on, man. So I had my eyes closed and I just heard that little thing. Yeah.
Put that as the clip.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. We've do you want to get into the Patreon?
Yeah, I actually completely forgot about this. So yes.
Yeah, so we've got a few questions. If you subscribe at our VIP tier of our Patreon, one of the benefits is you get to ask a guest a question. Now, because we're so early still in our Patreon journey, we opened it up to just, if you subscribe, just as a thank you for being an early adopter to our Patreon, we're opening it up to anyone, and that offer will stand for probably the next few weeks or so. So if you want to ask future guests a question,
get on there.
You need to jump on our Patreon at any tier, and we'll pretty much upgrade you to the VIP tier as a thank you for being an early adopter.
Because we're probably, about $150,000 a month at the moment with all our subscribers. We really, that's early days for us. Once we hit the mill, we'll probably lock it back up again.
Yeah.
But everyone up until that point, jump on in, man. You can get some VIP stuff going.
That's it.
Listeners must get such whiplash because we're either we don't expect anyone to subscribe, but it's just to try and help cover costs.
Yeah.
Or it's we're making millions. We're gearing up for retirement, one Patreon member at a time.
Yeah, 100%.
Taking it early.
But yeah, if you would like to ask a question, that is how you do so.
Come on.
So Matt wants to know, who would be your ideal support act? Who would you most like to support?
Oh, that's a great question. Like there's the big ones. It's like, of course, if Taylor Swift ever needed one, of course I'd try and fit it in. With all of my other
I'll see what I can do.
I'll see what I can. Yeah. I'll just call Taylor up. I feel like Holly Humberstone or Lizzie McAlpine. No, I change it. Lizzie McAlpine. But Holly Humberstone. If Holly asked, I'd also.
She's not asking now. Her management was ready to dial, and then
it's actually very tired, very close there.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing here, but they are my biggest sort of influences. So,
changing gears slightly, Jess wants to know: describe your ideal first date.
This was one, I can't remember if we said it off mic or not, but Cam and I were like, before you came, and then we said it to you as well. We're like, wait, this is not one that we would normally ask in an interview.
Support acts, that sort of stuff.
We could have,
that would have come into our head. Describing your ideal first date definitely would not have been a question we would have come up with.
Turn the podcast creepy.
Could have been slightly problematic there. My ideal first date. It's got to be an activity of some sort.
Okay.
Because if it's a first date, it's all you've dropped the questions.
Visual medium. It's so good that it's a visual medium now. Do you need to sub in?
No, I'll be all right. Keep.
Yes, my ideal first date. An activity of some. Do you want me to grab it?
No, I'm all good.
I got it.
Oh, they both grabbed it at the same time. That's so funny.
Crisis averted. We've done it. That
was great content.
Activity of some sort. Bowling's fun. Or like a gig would be fun to go to as a first date. If it's like, I feel like if you're going on a first date, you don't want to go anywhere that you're going to see people though.
True.
So it's like,
tricky. Hey, this is...
Yeah.
But you also, you want something where that if it's not going so well,
that you can
run into a crowd of people.
That, but also like if you're doing an activity, it's like if I don't find you that interesting, at least I can still be competitive at bowling.
Yeah, that's it.
Example.
Honestly, bowling's a good answer.
But there's still opportunity for talking. If you go to a movie, you're just sitting next to each other.
No. I'm so against movies.
In general or as a first date?
I love movies. I like personally going to the cinemas alone. By choice. No, I like doing that because it's like you can focus on it and you don't feel the need to talk to someone. It's like, or if you're showing someone a movie that you like and you're like, trying to see if they like
Constantly
it.
looking
And
over
it's
to see
just
their
like,
reaction.
oh gosh. And then there's that whole thing. If you take, this is like a well-known like female experience. If you take a guy to the movies, or you're watching a movie with a guy, you feel them like staring, and you know that if you turn your head, they're gonna try and kiss you. It's just like, it's not like scare. It's just like they're like you're like in the movie, and I'm like, yep.
I don't need to look at you to talk.
Yeah. I'm just focused, I'm just like really locked in. But yes.
So movies just fraught with danger, basically.
Yes.
No. It's
Danger
just hard
zone.
no.
No, yes.
Yeah.
See, me and my wife love going to the movies, but we're
Okay.
beyond that point.
Yeah, you know each other though.
We can just sit and watch a
Yeah.
movie and both enjoy
Cam,
it.
you're just...
Yes. So I think bowling, because then if it's going well, you can go get dinner. You can go. There's so much room.
Yeah.
Because I'm simple girl. We can go beach, get a wood fire pizza. We're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then that's good. Yeah. That's the answer to that question.
Thank you.
That's the first for our podcast as well. We haven't all had that before.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah, no first date. I don't think we've had a
course.
first date
No,
question,
I don't
have
think
we?
we've
No.
ever asked that question.
Maybe you should bring that into the circulation.
Yeah, some podcasts have like the recurring questions. This can be ours
yeah.
at the end.
Like
Yeah.
the tomato sauce in the fridge or the pantry on the Coast Football Ramble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Matt
Yeah.
Simon or Messi.
Fridge.
Yeah. Fridge?
Fridge.
Okay, yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for coming.
That's all the questions we got.
This one's from Alex. Who would you most like to co-write a song with?
Oh.
This is your chance to redeem yourself with Holly Humberston.
Yeah. Yeah.
If that is going to be your answer.
Holly, 100%. Like, her collabs are so good. Like, yeah. Holly Humberstone. Like, her one with Delwater Gap, so good. Yeah. Holly.
Very good.
That's Sean Sweet.
And
Big
the final question comes from Gracie. She wants to know, who are your major musical influences growing up?
Growing up. The first artist that was Taylor Swift, like in her Fearless era. That was like, I love music, and it was like the first artist that I started listening to for myself.
As in not a product of your parents or
Yeah, and I had
peers
3 older
listening.
brothers too, so they had their own journey through their teenage years, which I listened to. But I would say like Fleetwood Mac, like huge influence. My favorite, this is how it's diverse. So my favorite band is Pacific Avenue.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I love Pacific Avenue.
And
If
I
you're
say
listening,
really-
I love you.
Talk
Like-
about energy at a show.
Yeah.
I saw them.
I've seen them 8 times.
Wow. I've seen him. We saw him. What was? I don't even think it's a festival anymore. Unfortunately, rest in peace. At Newcastle. I want to call it. It's not Spilt Milk. That's one in Canberra. I can't remember what it was. And like, they like changed my life. Well, it was me and 2
Yes.
mates were standing there. We didn't even know them, and we were just, and they just were playing to this crowd of like a few hundred people. But it was as if they were like Jimi Hendrix, like this
Yeah.
like rock star energy, and they just came out and they just dominated.
Yeah.
It was just, they absolutely just dominated the stage.
Yeah.
They played with this energy that
Yeah.
was like so captivating, and we were just looking at each other going, "Who the fuck are these
Who
guys?"
is
And I've
this?
never forgotten them ever since. And I've always just been like, those guys, like. I would encourage anyone to see them live.
100%. And that's why I always, like, whenever they're doing a show, like, I will be there front row being the most fangirl. Like, I love them. They're so good. Like, their songs just make you feel so good. And I think, like, even from the first time listening to them, it's like they played with such confidence. Like, even if it's like a crowd they don't know and like they've never been, well, I don't know if they've been to the place before, but like they just they play their songs like it's a cover that everyone's gonna know. It's like and you do know them by the end of the night. Like, those songs get stuck in your head, and I think they're gonna be doing some awesome stuff in the next year, I think, because they've got Lucy was their recent single. That was awesome. like next level. I even showed my mum and she loved it. It's like, this is such a good song. My mum has very picky music taste. But yeah, so like I love the coastal vibes, like
sorry to interrupt. Pacific Avenue. Oh, I also have their song "Leaving for London."
So good.
Great song. That was just came on shuffle. And then my wife started singing it, and I was like, "How do you know this song?" She goes, "Oh, a girl at work loves them, and like she's played them at work, so I've heard this song and I like it too." So they're just, I don't know, it feels like they're one of those bands that they feel real underground, but I feel like they're underground for everyone in a way.
Yeah, they're one of those bands that it's like if you hear a song by them, you like them. Like it's just it's just they need to get heard. It's like it's just like it's not really like you can't be like, oh, I hate that song, because it's like it's a good song. They make good songs.
It's very non-offensive.
No, and feel good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for those questions. If you would like to submit a question to our future interview guests, jump on patreon.com/homebrewedmedia. Mm-hmm. Join us on any tier, and for your first month, we'll upgrade you to the VIP tier.
Yeah. Got to get to that milli. Simple as that.
Come on.
And,
how good.
On that note, on that Patreon-y fantastic fun fan note, we'll remind everyone one more time to head to Phoebe Joy's socials first, follow her, head to Linktree, get tickets to that unique, intimate EP launch gig. Woo. And enjoy this EP, which I'm not even going to attempt it. What is the date of the EP release?
1st of March.
Okay, 1st of March. Thank you. You did say it earlier. Okay. 1st of March, that EP is due out. It is your debut EP.
Yes.
A collection of songs written over the last couple of years, with one that was written only a couple of months ago.
Oh, yeah.
A step into the world of Phoebe Joy and a taste of what's to come as well. Phoebe, thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks, guys. It was an honour to be here, really. You guys are awesome.
This episode of Homebrewed was produced by Rugby League immortal, amazing golfer, and good friend of mine, Cameron Smith. If you want to catch up with anything else we're doing on Homebrewed, you can catch it at www.homebrewed.au. We record all of our podcasts at Sonora Studios in Tuggerah. So big thanks to Jack Nico and his crew for having us here in the space. And we will see you next time.
Thank you. I love a care man do when I see you tomorrow.
Yeah, see you tomorrow.